Today we're going to talk about simple interest. Simple interest formula is I equals PRT. Now how you set it up, I've got a table down here. You may not choose to use the table, but this will at least explain how it's set up. Here we have part of 17,000 is to be invested at 10% and the remainder at 8%. Okay, so now remember, I is your interest or income, depending on what you want to think of it. P could be principal. It means it could be what you invested or what you spent. Rate is the amount in decimals that you invested at, and T is the time in years. Now, if we continue reading through our problem, it says how much should be invested at each rate, so 10% and 8%, in order to earn an annual income of $1,592. So we already know time is 1 year. Annual means 1. So therefore we've got that part. Now, RP, what we're investing is 17,000. But we don't know how much is at 10% and how much is at 8%. So that's where our variable comes in. So if I say I invested X amount at 10%, which of course I'll write as a decimal, then what do I have to invest at 8%? Okay, so now what's left? So we don't know what this is, but we know that it's whatever we're going to use here will be subtracted from the 17,000. Well, we used an X there, so this will be 17,000 minus X. Whatever that rate happens to be, whatever we're investing at that amount, we do 17,000 minus that to get the amount we're investing at this. Okay? Now we know time is 1. To get our formula, we're going to multiply across. So we'll have X times 0.10 times 1. So that's going to give me 0.10x just for this rate. Then I have this formula. So I'm going to have 0.08 times, in parentheses, 17,000 minus X. That's very important that you remember to put it in parentheses. Okay, so then what does this I come from? Well, here is our income, but it's our total income. Total. Meaning that it's both of these added together. So this one here, the first one, plus the second one is going to equal our total. And that gives us our equation that we're going to use to solve. So we'll have 0.10x plus 0.08 times 17,000 minus X is going to equal $1,592. So now we've got an equation where we can solve for the first rate. Okay, so we'll look at this. So we'll go through and solve this. When we go ahead and multiply, so I'm going to have 0.10x plus Now, I have to multiply through here. And you can either separate it or do it directly, but the 0.08 has to be multiplied here and here. So when I multiply the 0.08 times 17,000, then I'm going to get 1360. And then minus 0.08x. All right, so far, still equal to this. So I'm going to combine my x's together. I've got 0.10 minus 0.08. That gives me 0.02x. Now I have to move this constant number and subtract it over here. Okay, so then I'm going to have equals 1592 minus 1360. So that's 0.02x is going to equal 232. Then we want to solve for the x. We're going to divide by 0.02 both sides. And this one's going to give me x equals 11600. So 11,600. Now that's just x, remember? X. Well, what rate was x? X was 10%. So we're going to say at 10%, this is the amount we invested. But they also want to know at 8%. So then we have to do 17,000 minus x, which is 17,000 minus 11,600, which is going to give us the value 5,400, which is the amount we invested at 8%. If you can set this up without ever having to put it in a table, that is just fine. But do what comes natural to you. But remember that both of these added together equal the total interest or income, depending on the problem you're working on. All right?